straight to Scott Jennings. He's the former senior advisor to Mitch McConnell and former special assistant to President George W. Bush. So, Scott, you've got hundreds of Republicans who are, obviously believe that they can win by echoing Trump's false claim that the election was stolen. I mean, it's pretty stunning. You're in Michigan, a state that he lost by more than 154,000 votes, and the message is he won. Here's the question to you, just from the political perspective here, the strategy perspective. Is that really a winning message? Is it going to work?
Well, it's certainly effective in Republican primaries right now, where candidates are trying to outdo each other on who's more loyal to Donald Trump. So buying into that message helps you achieve that goal, where I think it becomes more problematic if you're not running in a really red area in a general election. If you're running in a purple area, it's going to be a problematic message. I don't know that it will be enough, frankly, Erin, to derail Republican chances to win back the House in the 22 midterm. But I think as we get into 2024, if the Republican Party intends to make the centerpiece of its platform relitigating the 2020 election, there's virtually no chance we'll win back the White House. So if Donald Trump's our party's nominee, of course, that's exactly what he'll want to do. If he's not the nominee, that person eventually, I think, is going to have to say out loud into a camera, Joe Biden's a legitimate president, and now let me explain to you why you should vote for me.
It's amazing to think that someone would have to say such a thing, but I mean, yet this is the world that we actually live in, our reality here, Scott. The question for you, though, is you talk about it might work in these elections now. Then, of course, those sound bites are there. They live. You can't take it back. Does that matter, right? You're on the record saying it was stolen, and then in 2 years you want people to kind of forget you said that?
I think it greatly depends on your jurisdiction. If you live in an area where Donald Trump did quite well, I doubt it's going to be very hurtful. But if you live in a purple area or a blue area and you're trying to win a seat that's held by a Democrat, or you've got to talk to a bunch of swing voters, if you happen to live in one of those kinds of jurisdictions, like a lot of the Senate races will be in 22, yeah, it's going to be very problematic. And as I said, I think even in 24, Republicans are going to have to make the case to the American people of why they should entrust us again with the most awesome power in the land, the presidency of the United States. And if we go into that election relitigating 2020 with a lie, I don't know that they're going to entrust us with that power again.
It does seem very much, Scott, that it is rewarded.
Well, in these Republican primaries for local office and in some of the big Senate primaries going on, the candidates are all trying to outdo each other on loyalty to Donald Trump, and all he cares about right now is relitigating the 2020 election. And so that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to signal to people, hey, I'm going to support Trump on this. Where I really think the party's going to have a major issue is over the next 4 years. I think about the White House race in 2024. Remember, we have no platform right now. We went a platform in 2020. The platform was Trump. And in 2024, if Donald Trump is the nominee, then he is going to want to relitigate the 2020 election. There will be no platform. And if we have a different nominee, Trump's going to push that person to do the same thing, relitigate 2020 above all else. If we go back to the American people in 24 and say, we need to have the White House again, but by the way, January 6th was justified because the election was stolen, we're going to lose the election again, just like we lost it in 2020. And so, what's going on now, I think depending on your jurisdiction, it may or may not have an impact on the outcome of your race. The real impact for the Republican Party is national, and it will manifest itself in 24 if we want any chance of taking back the White House.
Scott, I wonder what you think about this debate.
Well, I'm first of all outraged that there are people out there who would make commerce judgments based on whether somebody was flying a flag. In that story you referenced, there was a lady who didn't want to buy from the farm because she thought the guy was a flag-raising so-and-so, I think the story said. I mean, think about that for a minute. How deranged, how crazy have we gotten over our national politics that if you see someone flying an American flag, you run the other direction because you assume that you all don't agree on politics? It's crazy. Here are the flags that matter. The ones that our soldiers wear on their uniforms, the one on the moon, the ones that we revere as school children and say a Pledge of Allegiance to. We're not taking a pledge to any political party. We are taking a pledge to our country, and that's how we ought to view the flag. And so I really hate this viewpoint, to be honest. I think it's crazy. I think it's another symptom of the last several years when, I mean, let's be honest. There's only two political parties in this country. One of them says they love the flag, and one right now is coddling a viewpoint of people who say, I think it's divisive. It's the Trump years. Trump said he loved the flag, so now they say they got to be against it. It's nutty, it's reflexive partisanship, and it's awful, and it ought to stop. Anyone who uses the American flag as a symbol of violence, as a symbol of hate, anyone who uses a physical American flag to beat police officers at the U.S. Capitol are reprehensible. They're terrible. They're awful. They don't stand for what's good about America and her flag. They don't. They don't represent us. They are saying, by doing those kinds of things, they are saying they don't believe in America. They don't believe in the promise of America or the equality of America. That's what they're signaling. And so their views ought to be discounted. And I think most of us do discount their views. So I strongly reject the idea that they are going to be able to appropriate the American flag and take it away from those of us who revere the flag and everything that it stands for. So look, I think there are people out there who live on division. They live on, their politics depends on division. Their politics depends on us hating each other. And I think, frankly, there are people that live on both sides of the political extreme spectrum here that love that we're out here debating whether the American flag is divisive because it furthers their ends. The American flag is a unifying symbol. It is a unifying symbol for me. It is a unifying symbol for people around the world who see it as a beacon of hope and freedom, and we all have to stand up and reclaim it. Anybody using it for violence and hate and division is wrong, and anybody who wants to stand and wave the flag and say, here's what it really stands for, in my opinion, is right. It's not political. It's not partisan. Surely we can all join together on that message.